Decluttering is a great way of getting clear on the things that are really important to you and the things that you actually need in your life. However, a lot of people don't realise that the time leading up to your declutter is just as important as the declutter itself. So if you want to make sure that you're doing decluttering right, in this video I'm going to take you through 5 things that successful minimalists do before they declutter. So the first thing they do is plan. This means going through each room of your home, noting down the different areas in each room, including shelves, cupboards, drawers, every nook and cranny. Because ideally what you don't want to happen is that you go through your home and declutter and you forget different areas. So once you've got your plan, you can go through each room and you'll know when you tick off your list that you've done that room and you can move on to the next one. This isn't to say that you're not going to come back to that room at a later date, but that you'll know on this occasion that you've looked through every area in that room and you've done what you need to do. And this leads me on to the second thing that will help you be successful with your declutter, and that is to set realistic expectations of your decluttering process. Part of that is recognizing that you're not going to get it all done in one go. Planning out each room is great, but don't feel that you have to go through the whole home in one sitting, or even that you have to go through one room in each sitting. It might be that you do a few areas in a room on one day and then you come back to it another day. Trying to blitz through the whole home on one occasion is probably going to leave you feeling stressed, so don't feel you need to do that. And that's another part of setting the expectations, is that decluttering some items is going to be harder than others. You may have some sentimental items that are really difficult to declutter, whereas other items you might feel it's relatively easy. Maybe you've held on to them for a long time and you've never used them. A bit like me when I held on to lots of books and CDs and I just knew that the time was right to let them go. So there are going to be things where it's quite easy for you to declutter, but others where maybe you need to set some of those items aside for a time while you think about what to do with them, but I'll come to that a bit later. Another part of setting expectations is recognizing that decluttering is a lifelong process. It's not something you do once and that's it. And this is because as we go through life, our priorities might change, our interests might change, and along with all those changes, we're going to end up with items that we no longer need or that we no longer have an interest in keeping. So be prepared to make decluttering a part of your life. It's not like you have to do it every single day, but checking through your home on a regular basis, for example, once a month, just to see if there's any items that actually you no longer need and you can donate, give to charity or recycle. The third thing that successful minimalists do is that they don't compare their decluttering process to others. I say this a lot in videos, but everyone is in different situations. We're all in different circumstances. And often I think this isn't emphasized enough. It's really not helpful to make blanket statements about how to do decluttering or think that you should do your decluttering in the same way that somebody else does. Maybe if you do it the same way that they do, that's great and that really works for you, but it might not always be the case, and that's okay. Some people might prefer to declutter a lot of things all at once, almost like ripping the band-aid off, whereas other people might want to do it more gradually. There is no right or wrong way to declutter, and if we try and force ourselves to declutter in ways that don't work for us, we're likely to make the decluttering process even more stressful than it needs to be. So find your way of decluttering and see how you get on with that. And if there are certain things that you've done before decluttering that have really helped with your decluttering process, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. The fourth thing that successful minimalists do before decluttering is review their spending habits, which might sound a bit weird before you've even decluttered, but often the reason we end up with so much clutter is that our spending habits have got out of control, or perhaps we're not being very mindful or intentional about our spending. And what we don't want to happen is that after we've decluttered, just fall back into the same cycle of buying lots of stuff we don't need and then later down the line needing to declutter that. So before you start decluttering, just have a think about whether you do have any triggers to your purchases. Do you buy based on certain emotions, for example? You might be like me, where I get tempted by those time-limited deals, or some adverts suggest that a certain item has only been made in a limited quantity, so you need to buy it quickly before they go out of stock forever. So think about your own triggers for making a purchase, whether it's feeling low in mood or perhaps feeling excited, something good's happened in your life and maybe you just want to go out and spend some money. Because once we get more aware of what our spending triggers are, then we're able to take a step back and think a bit more carefully about what we spend our money on. The fifth thing to think about is deciding how to deal with just-in-case items ahead of time. When you declutter, you are highly likely to come across items that you want to keep just in case, or you will come across items that you've been keeping just in case and they're still hanging around. There might genuinely be a a time where you need to use that just in case item. It saves you money because you don't have to go out and buy the item. But if you're like me, I kept a lot of items just in case, thinking that one day I would use them, knowing I really should get rid of them, but feeling very conflicted about that. So ahead of your declutter, think about what you're going to do with any just in case items that you come across. What I've found is effective is to put those items in a container of some sort, whether it's a bag or a box, put them away for a period of time, say for about a month, but with a commitment to come back to that container, look through those items and make a decision about what you're going to do with them. And when you come back to them, think about, did I think about these items while they were stored away? Did I feel the need to use them? Now that you're not in the middle of a big declutter, have your views changed about the likelihood of you using them in future? So hopefully these tips will set you up for decluttering success, but there are also some common mistakes people make during their declutter. So if you'd like to find out what those are, then check out the video that's on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.